Ladies and gentlemen, we have a state of play on the way here. Very excited for this one because, as you can see here, it returns this Thursday, February 12th, and they say get ready for over an hour of game news and updates from developers across the globe. 60 plus minutes. And this is for third-party and indie games alongside the latest from teams at PlayStation Studios. I don't want to say this is the one because at the end of the day, it is a state of play, so there's a little bit of a lesser expectation, but I personally, in recent memory, have had state of plays deliver for me more heavy-handedly than a traditional PlayStation showcase. So for me, I'm really excited about this because I think, okay, 60 minutes, sky's the limit. Keep in mind, though, usually when these state of plays or like Nintendo Directs are this long, it's usually a traditional like 35, 40-minute state of play or direct, but what you actually get is like a 20-minute showcase of one game in particular, usually the show ender. The last time they did this with state of play was Marvel Tokon. And so with that in mind, I wanted to open up with some predictions on what I think will be at this state of play here. My first prediction is one that was already on my list, but then when this leaked here, I went, oh yeah, like this is 100% happening. This is from IGN. They say details on the upcoming PlayStation published Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls have appeared online just days ahead of this week's big State of Play broadcast. It says it'll feature 20 characters at launch and also include a single-player episode mode. This is according to a Steam page description of the game briefly seen before it was pulled. It said it was described that the roster was expanding, so we should expect further heroes. And yeah, I think when you look at the roster count here, 20 characters for a 4v4 game is maybe a little light for some, but I mean, look, man, this game looks incredible. It looks like the successor to Dragon Ball FighterZ that I've been looking for. That's one of my most played fighting games, so I can't wait for this one. I think this is a no-doubter, though. I think we see Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls here, release date, roster, like a big, meaty trailer. So that's one of them. The second one, I feel like you could put this in literally any showcase this last year or so. I want to recap this story here. The God of War Metroidvania game. Dude, I've heard about this game for years. For years, dude. I am ready for a God of War Metroidvania game, and I want to run down this rabbit hole a little bit with you guys because it's been leaked for a while here. There was this leak here on Reset Era that said a 2.5D Metroidvania game will be coming from the Five Nights at Freddy developer, and it'll be a PlayStation title. So that was the original claim. But then Tom Henderson and Jeff Grubb got involved, and as you can see here, Tom Henderson said, hearing a lot of scuttlebutt about the 2.5D Metroidvania game or whatever it'll be. Yeah, it seems to be much smaller in scale than what I initially thought. And Jeff Grubb said, yeah. So there was a lot of confirmation that this was a game that was real and it wasn't just some random dude who was writing on like Reset Era, that this random game no one really was expecting was on the way. On top of that, we had Nate Drake, who said here on Reset Era that, let's zoom in one more time. He says, Mega Cat Studios is the developer. I was told, I haven't verified the info, but that was the name that was sent to me. So yeah, we've got ourselves a really interesting story here where a God of War Metroidvania game is on the way. And if that wasn't enough, there was also a leak on gaming leaks and rumors here that said that a 2.5D Metroidvania style game is on the way. This has been rumored for so long, and it feels like there's been so much smoke around it that it's time. It's time. Let's get this thing announced, man. Like, it's got to be. It was originally supposed to be shown off last year, was the rumor, but then it got delayed into 2026. Maybe because it was having some scope creep, maybe because it needed more polish. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like this is the show ender. Like, if I'm talking about that game, like a Marvel Tokon that takes up that 20-minute slot, I do think it's going to be this game right here. I think it's going to be the God of War Metroidvania game, and I'm kind of expecting something similar to Prince of Persia Lost Crown. That game was awesome, and I think it's going to be something in line with that. So that's one of my big predictions there, is that we finally see this game, and it's like the show ender that we see a lot of. My next prediction, I feel, is pretty obvious. Capcom's going hard with marketing. Requiem is literally everywhere. We just saw it at the Partner Direct. I think it's going to be here at the State of Play, but I think it's going to be here because they're going to announce a demo. PlayStation got an exclusive, a temporarily exclusive Resident Evil Village demo on PS4 and PS5 before that came out. And then also there was the Resident Evil 7 teaser demo called Beginning Hour, which was announced at PlayStation's E3 2016 showcase. So yeah, they've had their hand in that cookie jar for a while. while, PlayStation and Resident Evil. So I feel like this is going to get a demo. We're just close enough to launch where people can get their hands on it. It'll be that final big boom before the launch happens with Requiem. And I think that game's going to be gigantic. So this is just one extra push over the edge here. So I'm putting my my guess out there for a Resident Evil Requiem demo. Also, what I've noticed is a trend. Let's bring up the trailer here. What I've noticed is a trend is this stuff. There's like, what is this? Why are we getting PlayStation accessories like this? But they've really built an ecosystem that reminds me a lot of Apple. We've got speakers, we've got headphones, we've got all these little pieces, monitor even. So my prediction here, because they're building it around a desktop setting, and you have the speakers, you have the headphones, you have the monitor, PlayStation is committing heavily to PC. I mean, for example, you saw Horizon Hunter Gathering announced recently, and that game is coming day and date to PC. Like they're closing that gap more so. My prediction, PlayStation mouse, PlayStation keyboard. I think they're going to do it. I think that is going to be the whoa kind of PlayStation accessory announcement here. Like what? And that'll really cement their dedication to PC in a way that I don't think a lot of people have still processed yet. The other prediction that I have here is for, what's it called? The PlayStation Portal. So what we've got here is this. 7% of PS5 owners have purchased a PS Portal in the US. PS5 Pro accounts for 3% of all PS5s sold. You'll see here with an estimated 28.66 million PS5 sold through the end of 2025 in the United States, according to VG Chart's estimates. Keep in mind, estimates, not hard numbers here. That would mean roughly 2 million PlayStation Portals have been sold throughout the United States here. So I think that is much better than many of us had really expected, at least me personally. I bought the PlayStation Portal at launch because I just wanted to see what it was. Also, I kind of just have nostalgia for those PlayStation handhelds, man. I think an OLED model could be announced at this state of play as sort of the hardware reveal here. I think this has been supported enough for PlayStation to double down on and create like a premium model for it. And I use it enough that I would probably turn my head at this one. It depends on the price. One of the things that was really appealing about the PS Portal is, especially on sale, it was just the right price. So yeah, I got to say that I think those two accessories have, in my brain, equal chances of showing up. It's going to be one or the other, but I think both of those have a good chance here. Now let's get into some crazier ones here. I want to talk to you all about Xbox. I feel like Xbox needs to make some real noise here. That's because of sort of the sales that we're starting to see across Xbox games on PlayStation, right? We're seeing them port these games over, popular IP and not. They're going over. Alinea Analytics has some estimates here, and you can see in this screenshot, Oblivion took the cake last year. It 1.1 million units sold on PlayStation alone. Gears of War Reloaded, though, was at 572K. I look at that and think that's a little weak. I know Gears of War 1's been around for a while. You had Ultimate Edition and whatnot, but I think that Xbox leaned a little heavily on PlayStation marketing, just like putting out the tweet and letting that make all the noise. It was subtle. It was easy. There was another Gears of War Reloaded trailer at the Xbox showcase. Simple, easy, clean, but I think it could have done way more. To me, this should easily be over 1 million. Gears of War is a peak pillar of Xbox. I mean, Xbox themselves calls Gears of War one of the 4 horsemen, right? So like if they're one of the 4 horsemen, you should not be getting outdone by Oblivion Remastered, in my opinion. These two should be somewhat more equal, at least closer to 1 million at the very least. I say all that because one of my predictions of what will show up here is Halo Campaign Evolved. We recently got the report from Tom Warren at The Verge in the post we covered on Xbox's 2026 schedule that Halo Campaign Evolved is going to be a summer title, potentially. I feel like you got to start talking about it soon. Also, we had the dude from Halo Studios rocking a PlayStation shirt. Like, they were out there. I think Halo Studios needs an explosive win here. Like, I think this game needs to be great. And also, I think it just needs to sell a lot because there's a lot of faltering confidence, reasonably so, in Halo Studios. So I think showing up here is a statement. I just think Xbox needs more. Like the social media marketing, the buzz of like, oh, you know, they're bringing these games over and doing it through like little news clippings isn't enough. I think, again, games like Gears of War Reloaded should have done more. I would look at that and say, okay, this is one of our pillar franchises and it didn't do as well as we had hoped. Granted, it was like a little $40 remaster. How can we make this Halo remake tick? I would put it in a state of play. I mean, you've already ripped off the Band-Aid. Just show up there, and I think let it make some noise. It'll shock a little people awake, like, oh shit, this is Halo, right? It'd be a commitment to Xbox's multi-platform strategy, and it would target the gamers that are missing your product, who haven't experienced your product. And also, given it's a remake of the first game, you need as many people to get on board. So I think Halo will be there. Another prediction. Next mainline Sonic game. I don't really have any evidence for this one. There's been rumors aplenty, like, oh, why is the Werehog suddenly in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds? And there was like a 4chan post I was reading that had everything from like Sonic Eclipse to a new mainline Sonic game and another Shadow game and all this different stuff. I mean, Sonic games have a lot of potential, man. Like, especially these last few have been really great. And we get a new Sonic game every year. So I feel like I'd like to see a new one here. Mainline, I know I predicted that, but I sometimes I hesitate because I'm like, it's been 4 years since Frontiers. That was the last mainline one. I feel like they need a little bit more time. Sonic Team is not quick. And all these other Sonic games outside of racing have done pretty well. Superstars did pretty well. Also, Sonic and Shadow Generations did extremely well. So I think that's a game that they could like lean on a little bit and be like, okay, let's study that. Let's study Frontiers, take a little bit of extra time, and maybe we get something else from Sonic later this year. But I think Sonic has a good chance of showing up here. Another weird pick by Matty here. I'm going to bring up the trailer here because I know, like, if I talk about it just by word alone, you guys will be like, what? I want to see this man. I want to see Monokuma show up at the State of Play. Danganronpa 2x2 is one of the most surprising game announcements I've had. I love Danganronpa so much. I never thought Kazutaka Kodaka would be able to go back to it, man. And I feel like because this is a 2026 game, PlayStation's been leaning a little bit more heavily into their PlayStation weird roots, more Japanese roots. You got to target some of these weirder games. And Danganronpa is one of those weird games that somehow has like mass popularity. I can't wait for this game because of the new scenario. And if you've played V3, you know how crazy Kodaka is, where I think the 2x2 name is hinting at something else. So I would love to see Danganronpa 2x2 here at the State of Play. I think that has a good chance of being there. I have a lot more items here on my list, so let's keep going here. This next one, I think, has a strong chance, but it's also possible that this is a 2027 game, and maybe they take a little bit more time to cook here. Judas. So this is the next Ken Levine game, and Ken Levine wisely basically teamed up with PlayStation to sell them his mind. They're basically like saying, hey, let's just use your PlayStation blog as a place where I can tell people about all the little intricacies of our game, like creating the Judas simulator and what that means. And there are so many different posts from this game on the PlayStation blog. And I feel like it's been ramping up more and more. And Ken's always addressed the elephant in the room. Like, okay, I know you're looking for a release date. We're getting there. We're getting there. I feel like this could be a big one. Like, if this is a game that's coming out sooner than we expect, this could also be a show ender, in my opinion. But you can see, again, they've teamed up for devlogs. This was the second one here in December, end of the year. And I could see a world where they're ready to drop a new trailer. I mean, there were some hands-on opportunities for Judas and that sort of stuff. So I think that has a lot of potential of being here. There's also some other safe predictions I wanted to make here. This is a pretty obvious one. Ghost of Yotei Legends DLC was said to be coming in 2026. For those who don't remember, Ghost of Tsushima got the Legends DLC. That was the multiplayer mode. I think that's an awesome little bit of free content that game did that no one really expected. It was, again, the perfect swan song for the PS4. So Yotei getting Legends, maybe like even a shadow drop, I think could work really well. Yotei has done, I mean, way better than I think a lot of people online are trying to act like it did. So because of that, I feel like we'll see this one at the State of Play. This one already basically leaked this next prediction, but I had it on my list anyway, so let's talk about it. Marathon. Paul Tassi saying yes. Marathon fans are going to want to watch this. Paul Tassi has been in on the know about Bungie stuff for a while, and he covers a lot of Bungie-related content on his personal YouTube channel alongside Forbes, so I would take his word for it. But also, this game's coming out next month. I feel like we're going to see Marathon again here, and it'll be a good way to check the temperature on how the community's feeling here, because PlayStation reportedly, according to an article I saw on This Week in Video Games, PlayStation is like feeling a lot better after the recent playtest, and it seems like fan sentiment is turning around a bit. So after this trailer, it'll be a good time to revisit Marathon and see what's going on there. I have two pie-in-the-sky predictions. One of them is right here. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. So Hamaguchi tweeted that this year we plan to share more updates on the Final Fantasy VII Remake project than ever before. We look forward to celebrating together with even more players around the world. This was revealed alongside the Xbox and the Switch releases of Remake and Rebirth. And so when I see that they're really ramping it up, going multi-platform, this game's everywhere, there's two chances of something happening here. One is nothing happens revolving around Final Fantasy VII because this is a game that just got, like, everyone just got it on all platforms. So let it circulate a little bit longer and don't reveal anything now. There's also the, hey, let's show part 3 and get everyone to, like, double down and invest. At the same time, do you risk spoiling part 2 and part 1 by doing this? I kind of go and shrug my shoulders at it because at the end of the day, Final Fantasy VII, I won't spoil it, but in case anyone doesn't know, I just want to be generous to those people. But Final Fantasy VII, to me, has one of the most spoiled moments in the game. So, I mean, maybe Square wants to still be protective of that because, to be fair, given how Remake went, it created some like off-balance feeling as a fan where I'm like, will they do that? Won't they do that? And Rebirth confirmed which direction they wanted to go on that. So maybe they want to keep it a secret for a while longer. But when Square is saying that they want to share more updates than ever before, that to me says we're getting a reveal. Is it this soon? I don't know. But I think this, or maybe Game Awards. It's either or, both ends of the year here. But I think this will get revealed sometime this year. I'm just going to throw it out for State of Play because there's been that PlayStation relationship in the past back to the exclusivity, and that seems to be their dominant platform since it was, again, exclusive there for so long. The last one, no evidence outside of like a couple of rumors, a little bit of scuttlebutt online. I would love to see like a native PS3 emulation, kind of like they have for the PSP and the PS2 and the PS1. PS3 is the odd man out. I've been playing a lot of my PS3 since last year, and I just miss it a lot, and the games were great, and I think PS Plus would soar because of it. Maybe PlayStation's holding back on that, kind of like Nintendo was holding back on the GameCube until the Switch 2 launches. PlayStation's maybe doing that for their PS6. That's possible, but I would love to see that here. That's really pie in the sky stuff, though. So ultimately, these are my predictions for the PlayStation State of Play. Their biggest one yet, so I've got a lot of predictions for you, and we'll see where it goes at the end of the day. But excited nonetheless, man. I love showcases, as anyone does. People will always make fun of me for being optimistic, being excited about these showcases, but I don't know, man. It's the thing that pulls us together. We get excited about these things, and when they deliver, there's nothing like it. And I also look forward to State of Play because even though most people freak out if there's not always a third-person, over-the-shoulder, open-world game, I love that these State of Plays, much like the Nintendo Directs, have gotten progressively weirder. Like when the Nintendo Direct opened up with Paranorma Sight, like a new game in that series, everyone was like, what is this shit? I'm like, dude, hell yeah, Paranorma Sight's a great horror visual novel series. I love that game. So I look forward to hopefully some weird announcements as well.